Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It is wonderful to see you. Let's wait a moment for everybody to join us. It is a night where we are multi-access into our Shabbat experience, where we're going to join the sanctuary in just a moment, but we are here certainly on Zoom, creating our own Zoom sanctuary before we join together in creating a full TBE sanctuary tonight. It's so good to see so many of you. Rabbi Sissenwein, who is on Zoom, it's good to see you here too. I was thinking before we join our sanctuary that the rain the other day, yesterday, and the rain that is forthcoming, it certainly feels like we should be reading Parshat Noah this week. And then I looked in our Haftarah portion, the portion from the prophets at the end of our Torah reading this week, and it says something absolutely remarkable, and I want to read it to you. It says, "With kindness everlasting I take you back in love, said Adonai our God. For this to me is like the waters of Noah, as I swore that the waters of Noah never more would flood the earth. So I swear that I will not be angry with you or rebuke you, for the mountains may move and the hills may be shaken, but my loyalty shall never remove from you, nor my covenant of friendship be shaken, said Adonai, who takes us back in love." To me, there was it is remarkable that I was thinking about Noah, and in this text, we hear about the waters and God extending God's love for us as we prepare to enter Shabbat. Again, a Shabbat in the month of Elul, where we do this self-work, this self-reflection, this accounting of ourselves, of who we want to be, who we have been, and who we will become in the year ahead. And so let's greet each other, wish each other a Shabbat Shalom with a heart tap. And let us join together as we do in gallery view, as we continue in the sanctuary, as we light our Shabbat candles together. And so if you have them, I invite you to bring them close in the screen so we can bring more lights into this space and into our world.
Community, whether you are with us on Zoom or a few of you who are with us in the sanctuary tonight, you will see that our bima is filled with musicians as we here at Temple Beth Elohim are warming up for the High Holy Day season. More about that soon. But I want to thank our colleagues who are here, and Rabbi Harper is with us, Cantor Shana. I just saw our educator Josh sit down, and our high school intern Zach is here, Rabbi Sherman on Zoom, and Rabbi Sissenwein, who is away this Shabbat. We send a Shabbat Shalom to him as well. You will also notice that all of us are going to remain masked this evening. As we are getting ready for the High Holy Days, we are being led by our physicians and those in our medical community who are helping us to gather in the most safe way possible. So that means everyone who is with us this evening is vaccinated, and only those who are tested and have a negative COVID result are allowed to remove their mask. And we just did not have time to get tests yet. So we are going to remain masked. Although our sermon tonight is going to be given by Rabbi Harper, you're going to see her run off and join us on Zoom so that we can see her full face as she gives us her teaching tonight. So let us take a deep breath. We have gotten a lot of new, a lot of stressful, a lot of news that has given us anxiety this week. Let us breathe it out and welcome in a sense of wholeness and Shabbat as we bring in this sacred 25 hours that is different, special, elevated, and holy. So we welcome Shabbat with the lighting of our Shabbat candles. Rabbi Vanessa.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu
angels, we may consider them our wishes.
So we're going to ask them to turn the microphones
55
on in
hours.
the sanctuary. There they are.
What is it that we want to welcome in to spend Shabbat with us? Hold on to that feeling, that special something you are praying for in this Shabbat as we join together for Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ay, 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 Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ay, 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 tzidchem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yay, 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 lay, yay, 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 lay, lay, yay, lay, yay, lay,
We welcome in Shabbat like a beloved, someone who we cannot wait to see when we walk through the doors at the end of the day. When we reach the last verse, we will rise in our places and turn towards the door. If we are at home, perhaps we turn towards the entrance to the room and we wait with trepidation, with great excitement for Shabbat to come through the door. If you are in our Mishkan Tefillah Siddur, we are on page 138.
Shamor v'zachor b'diborecha, Hishmi'anu el ha'miyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shem ultiferet v'li tehila lecha Adoni.
rise, face the entrance, greet the Shabbat bride.
בואי ושלום, עטרת פלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, הולך דודי לקראת כלה, או פני שבת נקבלה. הולך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. פני שבת נקבלה.
Let's take another deep breath. Just center ourselves in this moment. On page 152, we turn to the Shema, our declaration of our oneness with each other, our oneness with the world around us.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shekevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Hashkivenu is our prayer that as we go into the night, it's not quite night yet, but as the sun begins to set in the sky and evening settles in, we pray that we be enveloped in a Sukkat Shalom, in an embrace of peace, of wholeness that keeps us safe, as our wonderful clergy intern Zach Gondelman leads us in our familiar melody, Let There Be Love.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu Leshalom, V'ha'amidenu Shomreinu Lechayim, יפרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו, השכיבנו לשלום, השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו, השכיבנו לשלום. Let there be love, let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
Thank you, Zach. So let us turn to the highlight of our liturgy. And on Shabbat, we make sure not to ask for things, but rather to express our gratitude and our praise. So we turn to the words of the Amidah, which you can find on page 164. If you are joining us at home, we invite you to place into our chat box a gratitude, a blessing, a joy that you experienced this week. And let us rise in body or in spirit.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach. Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, sifatai tiftach. Ufi yagid tehilatecha. Open up our lips so we may praise your name. Open up our hearts so we can feel our pain. Open up our souls to let our love make us whole. And we will praise your name, Adonai, sifatai tiftach. Ufi yagid tehilatecha.
Let us continue with our own private prayers or meditations. When you're finished, we will be seated and we will continue with a song of peace.
עושה שלום במרומיו, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen. Oseh shalom imrama, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru Amen. Yai lai lai, ya la lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai, ya la lai 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 lai. Oh, say shalom imrama, sing it out now. Say shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru
With these prayers of peace and wholeness for our world, we add the prayers for those in our lives who are in need of healing, whether it be a healing of the body, of the mind, or of the spirit. If you are joining us from Zoom, we invite you to place the name of your loved one in our chat. And as those names stream in, I want to invite those who are in our sanctuary who have a name to share to rise from your seats and to share the name of your loved one aloud as well.
For those of us on Zoom, unfortunately, it doesn't seem that the chat box is working tonight. So I invite all of us to really take in the names of those we are thinking of, asking for healing, for prayers of blessing and courage and strength for those near and dear to us and those far from us, to recite the names aloud in our own midst and also in our hearts.
Mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
And so as we do each week, we give thanks to God for the sacred moments in our lives with words of Shehechianu. And so we want to celebrate with you this week. If you have celebrated a birthday, I invite you to raise your hand. Has anybody celebrated a birthday? Ellen, happy birthday to you. It's wonderful to see you. And Lou and Roz, I see you raised a hand. Happy birthday to you. And Hannah, happy birthday. I did not know it was your birthday. Happy birthday to you. And if you celebrated the anniversary, whether it is of a wedding or some other special anniversary in your life, I invite you to raise your hand so we can see you and wish you a mazel tov. Wonderful. And I know this week we are celebrating a bar mitzvah service in our sanctuary. And so mazel tov to Evan Cates, to you and your entire family as you lead us in prayer tomorrow and teach us words of our tradition and your wisdom. And so mazel tov to you and your entire family. And I know that we are gathering with Rabbi Sapphire on the Bima to celebrate a wedding couple. And so I'm going to send you blessing from all of us on Zoom. And maybe you can offer the blessing to a wedding couple this Shabbat. It's funny, I thought Rabbi Sapphire was gesturing towards me, but in fact, she was gesturing towards everybody in the sanctuary. And so we are going to stay here for just a moment before the wedding couple comes up, and perhaps we can unmute the sanctuary and we can join together.
Of Henry Corman and Ann Houston, and their family is with us here tonight, and they will be married as Shabbat comes to a close tomorrow night in Cambridge. And what a joy it will be to celebrate with you, but we are so thrilled that you're able to be in our sanctuary tonight before the Torah, as it is a tradition to come close to Torah as you are going to be married underneath the chuppah. So I am going to open the ark. If you are in our midst tonight, if you can rise in body, if you're with us on Zoom, rise in body or spirit as well. I'm going to open our beautiful ark. And I'm going to place the two of you as bride and groom as you will stand underneath the chuppah tomorrow night. So let's see if we can get this right. The bride always goes on the right facing the chuppah, and the groom right here on the left. So here we offer you words of blessing and joy. Mi sheberach avotenu ve'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak, ve'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, ve'Leah. May God, who blessed our ancestors, the men and women of Israel in every generation, bless this bride and this groom. Guide them on life's journey. May their marriage be a joy and a good example to all who know them. May they fashion a partnership and a Jewish home worthy of praise, a secure refuge where they may find tranquility and peace during all of their days together. May the love of this couple inspire and bless their family, their friends, and all of us, the community of Israel. And let us all say, Amen. And as I close the ark, let us all join together in a big Mazel Tov for this bride and groom. And we will join together in the words of Shehachianu, which you will also hear underneath the chuppah as well.
Mazel Tov. As the ark is closed, you may be seated. Let's join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam הזמן הזה.
Mazal tov, mazal tov. So picture this. It's the olden days. You're headed to the weekly market in town with a cart full of fresh milk to sell. The hot sun is already beating down on the dusty and difficult path from your village, and your donkey is moving slowly in the heat. Up on the road ahead, you see an ox. Its back, overloaded with heavy copper pots, suddenly collapse under its burden with a loud crash of metal on metal. As you get closer, you see your neighbor Sarah struggling to raise the fallen animal. You know there's no way she can do it alone. An ox weighs a literal ton, not to mention all the wares on its back that Sarah needs to sell in order to eat that week. But if you stop to help, the milk on your own cart runs the risk of spoiling. So what would you do? Would you stop to help Sarah? Now, picture the scenario again, only this time, instead of your nice neighbor Sarah, it's Jacob, your least favorite person in the world, who's been your mortal enemy ever since that time when he ran off with your clothes when you were washing in the lake. Would you pass by Jacob's struggle with the satisfaction of schadenfreude? Surely, you shouldn't have to stop and risk your own livelihood for the sake of this jerk who most definitely had it coming to him. But should you? Now, in this week's Torah reading, Parshat Ki Teitzei, we are commanded, if you see your fellow's beast of burden fallen on the road, you must not be indifferent to them. You must raise it up with her. Well, it seems then, at least as regards Sarah, we have a pretty straightforward answer. You're on the road, you see your neighbor's fallen ox. The Torah very clearly insists that you not pass by, that you stop and help shoulder the burden. Even at a risk to your own property, the rabbis teach you must prioritize the commandment to help the fallen creature along with its owner. Dilemma solved. Shabbat shalom. But what about Jacob, you may be wondering? Well, Jacob is the more complicated question. After all, the verse says, if you see your fellow's beast of burden fallen on the road. In fact, the Hebrew word that we translate here as your fellow is achicha, which is literally your brother. And I've read enough Talmud to know that there's a wide enough gap to drive several loaded donkeys between your brother and your mortal enemy. Surely then, this commandment shouldn't apply to helping Jacob, who's probably the kind of guy who would have shown up on the day of a group presentation without having done a single piece of the work assigned to him and leaving everybody else scrambling so that the whole group doesn't fail. Now, unfortunately for me and my desire to give the fictional Jacob his comeuppance, this commandment that we are reading in Deuteronomy 22 is a repetition and an expansion on one found back in Exodus 23, which reads, when you see the donkey of a person you hate lying under its burden and would avoid raising it, you must nevertheless raise it with him. Now, even in the case of our enemies, the Torah teaches, we are obligated to stop what we're doing and take on their burden as our own. The rabbis of the Talmud even go a step further. If faced with both of these iterations of the commandment to assist in lifting an overburdened creature, that is, if you see Sarah on one side of the road and Jacob on the other, and you have to choose whom to help, they say the mitzvah is to help the one you hate the most in order to subjugate your yetzer hara, your inclination towards wrongdoing. Now, these long ago rabbis recognized that this is a really challenging mitzvah. It makes demands of one's physical strength and energy and time and even money. But most challenging of all is the demand that it makes of our emotions. The hardest part of this commandment to fulfill is not azov ta'azov, you must raise it up, but rather imo, with him. You have to willfully choose to inconvenience yourself, to go over and help a person that you hate. And in order to help them, you will need to work together. If you're going to unload and lift up a 2,000-pound ox, you're going to have to talk to each other to coordinate who's pushing and who's pulling. You're going to have to spend time sweating it out next to each other, and you don't get to leave until the task is completed. Imagine making the choice to do all of this with someone whose very existence infuriates you. It is a challenge indeed. Now, these days, the burdens that we are faced with helping to shoulder are not limited to what fits on the back of an ox. And those whom we are called to help are not always people that we know. We are all acutely aware that in a globalized world, where everyone everywhere is interconnected somehow, the choices that we make can have consequences that reach all the way to other continents, and events happening on the other side of the world inevitably make their way to our own doorsteps. In this age, the categories of fellow and enemy, neighbor and stranger have expanded exponentially, merging and blurring to the point that people we will never meet create, carry, or cry out under burdens that we too are compelled to share, whether we like it or not. The burdens of Alabama, Afghanistan, or Auburndale are all our concern, whatever the cause, whomever the sufferer. Lo hitalamta mehem, we cannot hide from them. We must not be indifferent. And I know it is not possible to shoulder the burdens of the entire world. We can't fix everything. We can't save everyone. It doesn't help anyone if we completely emotionally exhaust ourselves. However, we must not be indifferent. There is value to engaging in that emotionally demanding work of crossing the road towards an enemy or a stranger and being with them, acknowledging that their burden is difficult and that it is not theirs to bear alone. Tradition teaches that the order in which these commandments were given in the Torah teaches a powerful lesson in itself. The first time we encounter a burden to lift, it is our enemies. But the second time we encounter this situation, the burden belongs to our fellow. In the process of crossing the road and raising up the burdened creature with a person we don't care for, we may come to see them not as our enemies, not as strangers, but rather as our fellows, our neighbors, our friends, people to whom we are connected and for whom we feel responsible. So in this season of tshuva, of repentance and reconciliation, let us choose not to follow our inclination towards indifference. Instead, let us choose to cross the road, extend our hand, and raise up the possibility of repair. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. יחד לב אל לב נפתח ונראה את האור שבשמיים. יחד לב אל לב נפתח בתקווה לאהבה. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. You just call on me, brother, when you need a friend.
We all need somebody to lean on.
I just might have a problem that you'd understand.
We all need somebody to lean on.
יחד
לב אל לב שבשמיים יחד לב אל לב נפתח ותקווה
לאהבה.
Yasher Koach, Rabbi Harper, for those wise words, and the two of you for that soul added on. Let us continue now as we recognize those we have leaned on who are no longer with us, those whose yahrzeit, their anniversary of their passing, fall this week, or those who we have most recently lost in these past days. I want to begin by recognizing Bob Foster, the brother of Gail Rosenberg, Peter Leese, the brother of Matthew Leese, and Ellen Schwab, yet to be interred, the wife of Dr. Les Schwab. We have been asked to read the yahrzeits of Israel Gager, the father of Andrea Nadai, Samuel Goldberg, the father of Norman Goldberg, Lena Schramm, the mother of Albert Schramm, Gloria and Donald Trouch, the parents of Nikki Asaf. We will invite those of you who are joining us from Zoom to please enter the names of your loved one into our chat, and those of you who are here with us in person, remembering a dear one, to rise and share their name with us now. So let us rise in body or in spirit as a community in support of these mourners as we turn to page 598 to recite the sacred words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rava, be'alma divrach cherutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon u'v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv ve'imru. Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba mevarach le'olam umei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal Shemei Kudesha brichu. Le'elah min kol berchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shalama Rabba min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imaru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imaru. Amen.
Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Let's be seated. Before we conclude outside, we're going to continue with a few announcements. First, I want to thank the Schlossberg Corman Houston family for sponsoring our Oneg this evening, and for Susan, Karen, and Julie Belsky for greeting. Susan also made it possible for the Oneg outside tonight as well. So a few announcements. I hope you take part in our ongoing Elul learning. Rabbi Sisselwine and Rabbi Sherman are both teaching this week on Monday and Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Next Tuesday night, we also have a special opportunity to join outside in a mitzvah project in partnership with our Family Social Action Group and Family Services Metro West. We're going to be packing backpacks for children to return to school. Thursday night, we want you to join us online to learn about a special criminal justice program and to be a partaker with the extraordinary volunteers of our community. And we have in person next Friday, August 27th, our next Red Cross blood drive. So please join us for that as well. Next Saturday night after Shabbat, believe it or not, is our Selichot service opening our High Holy Day season. You'll receive more information about that, and an update on all of our High Holy Day offerings should come to your email inbox on Monday. So please pay close attention to that, and if you have not registered, that email is specifically for you. We are looking ahead to all of our holidays this season and making it possible for you to order your own lulav and etrog so you can shake things up a little bit at home. So you will see information. All of this and more appears in your weekly e-blast that was sent, I think, at 1 o'clock today.
And Rabbi, I just want to thank Max and Maddie for helping us with the technology tonight so that we could be with you at home on Zoom. And a huge toda rabba, a thank you to Noam on percussion, Ilan on piano, and Rebecca on violin for uplifting our worship tonight with your sacred music. Thanks also to Josh and to Zach for joining us this evening.
Beautiful. So we are going to conclude with Kiddush, whether you are with us in person or online. So Shabbat Shalom.
So I hope that you can find me again on your Zoom screen, wherever it is that I disappeared to. I hope that we are all together. For those of you who want to join us tomorrow morning, we also have Minyan and Torah study at 10 o'clock. And so I hope that you will join us. And so let's make Kiddush and Motzi together. So if you have a Kiddush cup, I'd love to see it as we join together in these words. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemahaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol amim v'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Shabbat l'chaim. And let us see some chalot. Perhaps we can find one in our Zoom room. There we go. Marilyn's got one. Let's join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Let's take a bite and wish each other Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Maybe we can unmute everyone so we can greet each other. Have a wonderful Shabbat.
Benefits, I saw you before.
Shalom, Mama.
Shalom, David. Oh, Marcia. You didn't go away yet. I hope you get to see them soon.
Shalom, Marcia.
There. Did you go to Connecticut yet, Marcia? I hope you get to see them. And Carol, we're always going to see some of the relatives here and there. I hope you get back to California for too long. And, well, Paula, sir, you're not here.
Claire, I don't know you yet.
By Vanessa Harper.
Shabbat Shalom, Diane.
Thank you very much, Vanessa, our newest rabbi. Welcome to our congregation. I hope to be able to talk to you in person.
Here's Margie.
And find out a little something about you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Marcia. Shabbat Shalom, Mitch.
Shabbat Shalom, Doug.
Oh, it's so good to see you. And Marilyn, I wonder if you're still up in Maine. No, I think you're back home in your house.
shalom, Nancy.
Flowers behind you.
Shabbat
Like
shalom,
you show up, you're back down in your house in.
Shabbat shalom, Marilyn.
Okay, everybody, I'm gonna say Shabbat Shalom. and
Shabbat
take
shalom,
care.
Doug.
Nice to see you.
Take care, Doug.
Marcia, Mitch.
Shabbat shalom, Bud.
Hi,
And to your whole
Peggy says
family.
hello too.
Hi,
Peggy.
Bye.